Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us today, and thanks to Glenn Maxwell for coming along and having a short chat this evening. Obviously, it's quite late at night, so if you have a question for Glenn, put your hand up and we'll get underway. Hear me there, guys? Oh, yep, here we go. Alex Malcolm.
Well played, Glenn. Just wanted to ask you about Josh Inglis, actually. Can you give us some insights into his skill facing spin, his footwork patterns and things like that? You'd be as well placed as anyone. He looks from the outside as good as any Australian player under pressure, middle overs, to be able to manipulate the field and use his skills that way. Can you give us some insights into how he does it?
Yeah, he certainly... I still remember sort of seeing him for the first time facing spin at the start of the World Cup when he was part of our squad, and watching the way he sort of started his first net session, probably made a lot of mistakes, and then went from there and basically learnt every session, and just every net session got better and better and better. And even throughout the first one, he's a sponge for information. He takes things on board. He soaks in information from the conditions and tries to adapt to it and find the best way to go about it. And we see that in Australia. It's probably a little bit easier to play spin, but his footwork patterns, as you talked about, are really crisp. He's able to move forward and back, use his feet. He sweeps both sides, which makes it a real handful to set a field against. And yeah, he's able to sort of access different parts of the ground to put pressure on opposition, which is a massive key facing spin in any part of the world, really.
And do you guys feel like you're sort of gelling in the middle now? That you two plus the two guys behind you, you feel like you can chase anything from anywhere, and it just looked like you had everything under control, despite the fact that you had a fair way to go from the 8th over on tonight.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty good wicket. There wasn't a whole lot happening, a tiny bit of spin, but obviously our bowlers did a really good job to hold on to that. Our spinners have been outstanding. Jai coming back was brilliant as well. So I thought we did a really good job to hold them to that score on a ground which can have a lot of open spaces. So I think with the previous scars from the first 3 games, it looked like they knew if they took too many risks early that they were going to be left short. So it looked like they tried to take it a little bit deeper, but we were able to get wickets at a key time, those last 5 overs, and sort of halt their assault a little bit at the end. So I think when you look at that, we were chasing a below par total. We probably didn't get off to the start that we would have liked, but we never really were under much run rate pressure through the middle.
Thanks, Glenn.
Dan Cherney.
Yeah, Maxie, congrats. Only the 3 boundaries for tonight, no sixes, a relatively uncharacteristic knock. How pleasing is it, though, for you that you could play a different sort of innings and dive the side home?
Wasn't my first preference, but yeah, the way Josh came out and was busy from the get-go and hit a couple of boundaries early and sort of got the run rate back down to, I think, 7.5 really quickly. And as soon as it got back to that, it meant that we didn't really need to take any risks with such a big ground. Being able to knock the ball into the gap and get 2s quite easily, and knowing that the odd boundary would happen. And the way Josh went about his innings was brilliant. It took all the pressure off me. It meant I could just play at the other end and just try not to face too many dots in a row and keep rotating the strike and make it difficult for the bowler to sort of settle. So full credit to him. He made my job really easy out there.
And just if you don't mind, the crowd tonight, 13,000, you played a lot of big matches here at the MCG. Does it concern you to see Australia playing a white ball home match and the Great Southern stands, completely shut off?
Yeah, I did notice that when I came out for the warm up. It was probably the first time in an international game where I've sort of seen that. But you can understand why people are staying at home. We've had the pandemic going on for close to, it's been 2 full years now, and yeah, people are still probably a little bit wary of going out, and with hopefully the end so close to being in sight, hopefully people can sort of get the confidence to come back out and be in big groups again, and hopefully enjoy a really good show out there.
Louis Cameron.
Hey Maxi, just on Ash Agar's bowling, mate. Have you been surprised? I think he hasn't gone for a boundary in these 2 games since he's come back. Have you been surprised just how quickly he's gotten back up to speed with international cricket?
Oh, not really. I think Ash is one of those guys who's consistently working on his game, always striving to get better. And we saw the way he bowled during the Big Bash. He was outstanding, and his professionalism to his skill has been basically second to none. The way he works with Sriram, Adam Zampa, any spinners that are in a group, he's able to, I suppose, share information, talk about opposition players, talk about plans, and then execute them, more importantly, out in the ground. And the way he's bowled this series is no shock to anyone. His control's brilliant. He's working on different deliveries all the time, always looking for a way to get better. And it's just a sign of a really good maturing player who's got full hold of his skill at the moment.
And just on his innings, was I guess they're just an element of still learning that role, opening the batting?
Yeah, and I thought they came at him really hard tonight. I thought Tikshana bowled beautifully. He's been probably one of their best players so far this series. He's bowled really skillfully, been able to spin the ball both ways, and had good control up front. Hasn't really given a lot of loose deliveries for us to cash in on, and also they came at him hard with some really good hard fast bowling tonight, and that's probably something they hadn't done too much of so far this series. And he got through that. He was the guy that we were probably batting around at the start. So for him to sort of get through that power play and be able to sort of bat with me for a little bit there, actually sort of took it a little bit deeper and probably allowed Josh Inglis to play the innings he did, start against spin, and be able to manipulate the ball around like that.
Was that one of your better runouts at the MCG, Maxi?
Well, I've got a few against Sri Lanka actually at the MCG. I got 2 and 2 balls here, I think in about 2013. And one of those was from cover, and I hit one stump on the side. So that was the one that sort of sticks in my mind. But I felt like I had a really good look at the stumps. And it was a nice feeling when it left the hand. Felt like it was on target the whole time. And but yeah, they gave me a fair look at it. I sort of knew they were coming back for 2, so I had a bit more time to sort of get settled and I suppose plan what I was going to do.
Last one here, folks. Ronnie Lerner.
And actually, just on your own, why did he try to upstage you there? What was going on there?
put a bit of mayo on it as well. I think he winded himself. I think he had the microphone and all sorts of things attached to him. He had his GPS vest on as well. There was all sorts of things. And Finchy was sort of directing traffic the whole time as well. There was a fair bit going on. And luckily enough, he executed the run out and we were able to hold him back for those last few overs.
And just on the bowling, I'm just forgive me if this question's already been asked, but without the big 3 of your bowling attack to put in such a fantastic bowling performance, especially Jai Richardson's effort, it must have been really, really pleasing for the team.
Yeah, I just think it's a really good sign for the depth of Australian cricket. I think we're able to watch these guys come through the Big Bash and perform really well for their franchises. And then when they come into international cricket, they're able to execute the same way, the same plans, and that they all don't lack confidence when they come here. They're up and about and they're ready to take the international game by storm. And we saw Riley Meredith do that last year when he played against New Zealand, and he bowled with raw pace. And now we've seen Jai Richardson. He did it a couple of years against Pakistan, I think it was. So for these guys coming in, it's they're not overawed by the situation. We've seen Josh Inglis come in this series and bat beautifully and not be overawed by what's been going on around him. And it's just a really good sign for Australian cricket at the moment.
Benny Horn snuck in late as usual. Benny?
Sorry, Cole, and sorry, Glenn. Just a real quick one. I just wanted, Maxie, the T20 game as well as anyone, and the trends that are going on. Do you still feel that a player like Steve Smith can have a key role in T20 cricket? That sort of anchor player as you used him in the World Cup. Do you still, even though perhaps IPL teams are moving away from that kind of approach, do you still think that someone like him can play an important role?
I think certainly with Smudge's array of shots, I think I played probably a similar role tonight. I think I probably adapt my game because someone was going so well at the other end, and then when it is your turn, that's when you go. And that's always been the way Steve's gone about his T20 batting. I think he's had a massive amount of success in the T20 format, and there's a reason why these teams keep picking him up at different times. And he's had success. He's consistent. He's an experienced head, and he's got a lot of leadership qualities as well. So he's always going to be on the radar for any T20 team. And he played a beautiful role for us. He was able to be the glue in the middle order for us. Probably didn't get the runs like a few of us that he would have liked, but he's still a massive part of our crew.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben, and thanks to Glenn Maxwell for joining us tonight, guys. We'll catch up with all of you tomorrow.
Thanks, Glenn. Thanks, Cole.
Thanks, Cole. Thanks, Glenn.